What's going on YouTube? Chris back with another video. Before I start this video, I want to pose a question to you. What would you pay for, or what would you expect to pay for a device that has a Snapdragon 865, a 6.5 inch Super AMOLED 1080p display that has 120Hz refresh rate, a 6 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage with microSD card expansion, 4500 mAh battery with fast charging and wireless and reversed wireless charging, triple rear camera setup, that's 12 megapixels for wide angle, 12 megapixels for a ultra wide, and 8 megapixels for a telephoto, 32 megapixel front facing camera, USB-C, IP rating. Well, you guessed it, that's the S20 Fan Edition, or FE. Has 5G even, and this, in terms of specs for what you get, seems to be such a great value. Now, if you compare that to a Pixel 5 that was just announced, you are already sacrificing in terms of actual specs for Snapdragon 765, 128 gigs of storage, 8 gigs of RAM, so you do get a benefit there. You have two cameras, 12 megapixel wide and then a 16 megapixel ultra wide, 8 megapixel front facing camera. You do have a 1080p display at 6 inches, but only 90 Hz refresh rate, and even a smaller battery of being 4080 milliamps. You don't even get Wi-Fi 6 like you do on here. So with all that said, they cost practically the same depending on which region you're in. That's a different story. But here in the US, I have the T-Mobile variant. I got this super amazing deal from T-Mobile, trade in a device, $500 off, respectively, making this almost $200. And then so we're gonna check this out. I haven't checked out a Samsung device since the S6, and I hated that thing. I've not been a fan of Samsung for quite some time, and hopefully this changes that for me. So we have here the Cloud Mint, comes in this nice white box with this holographic S20 on it, and some other kind of like icons. So Fan Edition, this is what Samsung thinks fans would want out of their device. So let's get into the boxing real quick. We'll just take the device out for a second. You got your pamphlets. It looks like there's a SIM card in there already, so that's nice. You have your USB-C to Type A connector. That is going to be for your 25 watt fast charging. It does support 15 watt wireless fast charging, but in the box, I don't believe you get that 25 watt fast charger. And then up top, you have a little piece of paper to protect the glass initially. And then inside here, oh, I just ripped the box. There is no case with the T-Mobile version, so just a heads up. And oh my, I already can tell you I love this color. This reminds me of kind of an eggshell robin type green blue. I love this. It's a very holographic. Let's pull this off real quick. And there is that Cloud Mint. So depending on how you look at it in the light, it will glow differently. The color changes. So the back here is plastic. This isn't glass. That's some of the cost savings that Samsung went with. Just a heads up. Here's that triple camera array there in the back. Your wide, ultra wide, and telephoto lens, the flash. That's a pretty big camera hump, hefty camera bump actually. You do have aluminum rails, aluminum frame, so you're at least holding onto something that's metal. That's also nice. It has this really nice, it's not super heavy, but it has a nice distribution of weight. So up front, we have a kind of, not a built-in screen protector, unfortunately. We have our 6.5 inch Super AMOLED display up front. This is running Gorilla Glass 3, so that is an older version of Gorilla Glass. I usually put a tempered glass screen protector on it anyways, so it's not a big deal. It is a flat display, so you're not going to get any sort of those weird palm rejections for a curved edge. I am actually a fan of flat displays. Here's that 32 megapixel front-facing camera up front. Up top is where your SIM tray is and micro SD card expansion. No headphone jack, but you do have USB-C, there's a mic, and then speaker. So this has dual firing speakers, one on the bottom, one up top. So I'm going to just go ahead and run through the setup real quick and get into some of the software and go over that, install any sort of updates. I'll be right back. All right, so we are going through the setup now. I wanted to just take a look at the fingerprint and face unlock features. So this does have an in-screen fingerprint scanner, which is fantastic. Let's go ahead and set up the fingerprints real quick. All right, it talks about starting with your fingerprint, center of the thumb. You know, it's interesting. It's saying you're going to feel a vibration. I don't feel any sort of vibrations at all. I've noticed that when I was signing in, typing in my email account and password, never felt any sort of vibrations. So the setup process has been so far pretty standard. Now, I'm not sure if you can catch it on video, if we can see it on video here. There looks like to be like a silver ring that looks to be protruding from the glass, but it's not. It's all under the display, under the glass, I should say. But the bezels on this are quite big. I say big, which is very relative, but it is bigger. They are bigger compared to other flagships like the Note series, LG, for example, or even the latest Pixel 5. But I don't have any sort of complaints in that regard. I kind of expect that from a lower priced device. But just to give you a heads up there, let me get signed into Samsung account, and actually I will go on to the next bit. So we are finally into the device itself, our home screen, and holy bloatware, Batman. Yeah, that's a lot of apps already coming pre-installed, and my cat is scratching the tower again. That is a considerable amount of apps. We have your Google apps, you have Microsoft apps, Samsung apps, and also T-Mobile apps. I knew this going into it being a carrier version, plus it being Samsung, I'm going to be getting a lot of bloatware. Hopefully that's something I can kind of slim down and maybe get rid of. Let's go ahead and real quick try uninstalling. So you can uninstall these Microsoft apps, which is good to hear. So the screen is very bright. I can already tell you that now, and that is not even with brightness all the way up. So this is the first time in a long time of using a Samsung device, let alone One UI. Let's go into the display real quick. They have dark mode, which is great. The screen brightness is quite nice. Motion smoothness, high, which is 120 hertz or 60 hertz. There's no 90 hertz option in between, unfortunately. Screen mode, natural or vivid. You can change the white balance if you prefer something that's a little more warm. Font size, all that. Full screen apps, easy mode, edge screen, navigation bar. Let's use swipe gestures. All right, so at least that's good. Charging, touch increased for screen protectors. I'll probably turn that on when I get a screen protector. I'm gonna go ahead and register my face here. Do I wear glasses? Yes, I do. It says hold my phone a bit closer. It now prompts me to take off my glasses. All right, so let's test this fingerprint out real quick. Not too bad there. The actual fingerprint unlock seems to be working smoothly and just fine for me. I could be sitting here all day long going through all these different settings, and there's going to be a ton. I'm going to go and talk about that more in a full review, so stay tuned and subscribe to my channel when that comes out in the coming weeks. But so far, let's get into the camera real quick. Looking for modes, it tells you kind of walk through on how to access all these various modes. And there is your standard traditional lens, there is your ultra wide, and then your telephoto zoom. And then you have everything in between up to 30 times of digital zoom, so that's crazy. Let's take a look in some of the settings here. Scene optimizer, front video, we have full HD. You can do 4K up to 60 frames a second on your front facing camera. Rear video, you do have as well 60 frames a second at 4K. Because of that 865 processor, you're going to have a lot of processing power to do those sort of things, which is fantastic. This is probably going to become my new device to record video for the channel. So I'm happy to kind of see that high efficiency video. So yeah, the screen looks very bright. There's the wallpaper blends in terms of the device color, but the device feels great in the hand. There's a curve on the back that lends to some more ergonomic feeling in the hand. It's not super heavy. It being decently narrow makes it easy to reach the other side of the screen. So far I'm liking it. Just outside of the bloatware, which hopefully I can kind of get by or get through somehow. We'll see. But yeah, if you guys have questions that you want for me to check out in my full review, leave them down below and I will answer them. I'll jot them down and make a note on making sure I cover that and make sure I get a lot of use of what questions and curiosities that you might have. So thank everyone for checking out this video, unboxing of the Galaxy S20 Fan Edition, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care.